Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the maximum, the absolute max possible number of shards that you can get for free every single month in Raid Shadow Legends. I actually was inspired to do this video based off of a video I just did on how much it would cost to buy enough shards to get a legendary in this game. It's a hell of a lot of money. And also, of course, how long it would take to save up shards to actually get it for free. Takes quite a while, but it's more doable. But in that video, we actually were using the example from Lord Yannick, who is endgame free-to-play. At the time, he'd been playing for about 2 years, and he found that per month, he was getting 11 Sacreds, 32 Voids, and 70 Ancients. And I got a lot of comments. A lot of people saying, this is crazy. There's no way. It's BS, basically. But then I also got a lot of people saying those numbers actually seem kind of low for endgame free-to-play. I'm endgame free-to-play. I get more than that. So what I've done in today's video is I've gone through and we're going to break down all of the free sources of shards so you know where to get them, how to get them, and you can sort of plan out how many to expect each month, regardless of where you are in the game. Obviously, to get them all, you have to be playing for probably like 2-ish years. You'll see though when we break it down. But let's start off going in with the sacred shards. So actually, do a little bet yourself. You can leave it in the comments or you can prepare it for a comment later. You can just have it in your head, right? How many do you think? Do you think he's high or low on any of these? What do you think of these numbers? Yeah, and let's dive in. So for sacreds, well, the first one that you can get, the easiest one, is the monthly quest. That's right, I actually just got it today. I've got a bunch of sacreds actually now saved up. Every month, by doing the monthly quest, takes 30 days. You get a sacred and also a void. We'll come back to that when we get to the void shards. So that's a guaranteed sacred. It's very reliable and very straightforward. And it gets much harder after that. We're only, by the way, talking about repeatable sources here. We're not talking about any one-time sources. Next up, we go to Clan Boss. Now, for Nightmare Clan Boss, you get 3 per month of sacreds on average from Nightmare. So that's getting the ultimate chest, and that's getting, obviously doing it for 30 days and getting 2 of it every single day, right? So we come into Nightmare, the ultimate chest, the top chest for 40 million, can drop a sacred. None of the lower chests drop sacreds, so that is what we're going to get. What about Ultra Nightmare? How do you think that compares? How does that increase? We can go to the Transcendent chest. It still has a chance to drop 1 shard, drops 5 items instead of 4 items. They don't actually really break down the drop chances. When we actually look at the real drop chances, which, by the way, have never changed. That's a fun conspiracy that crops up constantly in this game. They changed the Clan Boss drop rates. Oh my god, I'm getting less shards. It's just random, unfortunately. But the rates are the rates, have never changed. The average from the rate that you would expect is this. You get 8. That's getting the full 60 chests, 2 chests per day for 30 days from Ultra Nightmare. So there's a really big jump here. And in fact, this is by far the biggest source of your sacred shards. There's a few more though, and they are somewhat reliable. At least this one, Doom Tower Hard. You get two sacreds from Doom Tower Hard per month. So this is, again, a very reliable source. It resets every 4 weeks. I've already got one of them. You can see the top reward for beating Doom Tower Hard is a sacred. You need to be pretty far in the game to get that, of course, but when you do, it's a very reliable source of shards that's not relying on drop chances, where you could get lucky and be a slightly above average. You could get unlucky and go really long time without sacreds. Like for me, for example, I've got 1 from Doom Tower, 1 from my monthly quest. I've got 4 in like the last 5 days. I've been dropping sacreds like crazy, which is nice because before that, for about a month before that, I was dropping almost none. It was actually pretty brutal. Next up then, the Gold Tag Arena Bazaar. So once per month, you can come in if you're in Gold Tag Arena and you can buy a sacred shard for 30,000 gold. Again, very reliable and you can farm that up pretty reasonably, but it's quite a bit of farming and you need to be in Gold Tag Arena, which, let me tell you, is one of the harder things to do in this game. You'll know if you've ever tried. And then the final sacred shard that you can get per month is from winning Tier 6 of personal rewards CVC. Maybe there's a sacred for Tier 5 and stuff. I'm actually not 100% sure. I am in Tier 6 of personal rewards myself, and this is very difficult to do. This requires your clan to win, clan versus clan, in personal rewards, and for you to be in tier 6 of personal rewards, uh, and to max it out as well, which requires 400,000 clan versus clan points. It is doable free to play, but it's pretty tough. It's pretty unreliable, to be fair. So this one is definitely one that a lot of you are probably going, I'm never going to get that. And I totally understand. But I've put it in there as a source at least. And that gives us a total per month of 16 sacreds. Actually, so our example here of Lord Janaik is actually much under budget. He was getting pretty unlucky. But as you can see, luck plays a big part. The monthly quest is reliable. Doom Tower Hard is reliable when you get there. Gold Tag is reliable. But the really big bulk of your shards come from Nightmare, and particularly from Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. So really, this is why always content creators, everyone is saying your Clan Boss team is the #1 priority. And in fact, as you can see, in terms of sacreds at least, certainly getting into Ultra Nightmare makes a massive difference. Like you can imagine when you start taking Ultra Nightmare down and you're getting eight extra sacreds per month, how big of an impact that has on being able to do fusions, being able to save up for guaranteed events, all of that stuff. It makes a massive difference. That's why it's so important. Going over to Voids. In Voids, we're going to have a lot of the similar stuff, right? We're going to have the monthly quest, which gives us still just one. Now, when we go to Clan Boss, what do we expect from this? I am, for this, only going to include Brutal. I think Hard. Hard has a chance. I'm not including that. It's very, very small. But let me tell you, Brutal is also very small as well. You get the Grandmaster chest, 2 of them per month. So 60 of these Grandmaster chests. How many Void Shards is that going to drop you? Well, let me tell you. On average, it's going to give you about 1 per month. It is pretty brutal in terms of drop rates. Pretty rough. We go up to Nightmare, okay? Increase the difficulty to Nightmare. We get the Ultimate chest, okay? How many drop from that? It actually increases by 100% to 2. Yeah, it's still really low. So yeah, getting all 60 chests per month from Nightmare Clan Boss will only on average give 2 Void Shards per month. It's very, very small. Where we see the big leap here, guys, is with Ultra Nightmare, which gives on average about 11 Void Shards per month. So we thought there was a big leap with Sacred Shards. There is a bigger leap with Void Shards. Void Shards are really focused into Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, even more than Sacreds, right? 3 to 8 versus 2 to 11. Kind of surprising to me, actually. Somewhat more reliable is the Clan Shop. This is something we didn't see before. So the Clan Shop can give you sacreds, can give you Void Shards. It is a bit further on, though, right? It's down in slot 10. So you have to be in a fairly high-level clan to unlock slot 10. So it might not be available. And there are 4 different options that can crop up. It cycles once a week. So I'm saying, you know, on average, you can get 1 Void Shard from your Clan Shop every week. Something that's a little bit easier to do, but still kind of tough and kind of expensive. Silver Tag Arena Bazaar. You'd need to, it depends where you are, right? If you can't get into Gold Tag, grabbing this Void Shard over here is pretty decent, but I personally find like this Epic Skill Tome, this Void Shard are very expensive in terms of gold bars when there's things like Sacred Shards and Legendary books, like a Sacred being twice as expensive as a Void Shard. Like in terms of the price that Plarium puts on them is probably about $20 for a Sacred Shard, but only $2.50 for a Void Shard. So, you know, it's just, I think that the gold bar pricing for the Voids is really, really high. So it's difficult to farm enough to get it, but you can get it. So we'll put it in there. You can do that every 2 weeks. So you can get 2. For Doom Tower Normal, you can actually pick up some, and these are pretty doable, actually. These are pretty reliable. So for Void Shards, really the monthly quests and Doom Tower Normal are going to be your 2 kind of main reliable sources of this. Every Doom Tower rotation, there's 1 Void here, and then there's always going to be a Void Shard at the top of Normal as well. And that's not too difficult to do. You could easily be doing that before you get to Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss easily. So that's quite decent. Obviously much harder to do, but an extra reliable source for endgame players. Doom Tower Hard. This varies, but usually there's about 2 Void Shards in there for you to grab just on the random floors, not on the boss floors typically, but 2. I think some rotations there might be more, but I'm going to say on average 2. And then we come to the next big chunk of these, and these are very difficult to get, very end game, and that's clan versus clan tournaments. So if you're in lower clan versus clan tiers, you may still have void shards up for grabs, but less of them. So you can look at that and figure it out for yourself. But I just wanted to show you how many are up for grabs in the higher echelons of tier 6 clan versus clan. Definitely is an end game free to play. This is just the 2. You get a clan versus clan every 2 weeks, and there's always void shards in there, and you just get them for your clan scoring points. You don't have to win. So there's 3 in each tier 6 clan versus clan, so you can get 6 per month. And this is very doable, actually. Again, end game, 200,000 points in clan versus clan. Should be very doable if you've been playing for, a year and a half, 2 years, and you save up your resources and you play smart. I've got guides on it. I might do more if you need them, maybe an up-to-date guide, but it's pretty doable. Then there are 4 available if you win the, on average, 1 personal reward CVC per month. These are much harder to get because you need to win. You need to be getting tier 6 personal rewards, which is 400,000 points. That's double. That is intensive, especially if you're playing for free. You really have to manage your resources very carefully to be getting 400,000 points every personal rewards. You're going to be saving fragment fusions. You're going to be saving all of your books, all your Great Hall medals. You're going to be saving legendary ascensions. Just say all your silver to upgrade gear, all your forge, everything gets saved. Something I haven't put in here, though, tournaments. This is very random, but tournaments do crop up that reward void shards, but I didn't, it's hard to judge how many or when. But this brings us, that's all, to our total of 32 void shards per month. As you can see, these are very late game locked. 11 from Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, and then another 10 from Tier 6 Clan versus Clan. So 21 out of the 32 here are pretty, well, I'd say like Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, you might get there mid-game. That might be a mid-game goal, which sort of pushes you into the, I'd say once you get Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss down is when you really start pushing through mid-game and get into more late-game stuff. Tier 6 Clan versus Clan is definitely more late to end game. But these are really late, locked into being late. And early game, your reliable sources are very few and far between. You might not have the clan shops. You got your monthly quest, a couple from Doom Tower normal, and then maybe a couple, if you're lucky, from Brutal Clan Boss, but they're very sparse. Void shards are really locked to endgame. Interesting enough, it's exactly bang on what Lord Janaik was getting. So 32 voids, by my estimate, is actually exactly the average. Now, Ancient Shards, these are the early game favorite, of course, because they are by far the most obtainable. First of all, we have the weekly quest, which isn't actually quite weekly. You can do 6 of these in a month. It's a very short week. The weekly quest, you have to do, what, 7 of these? Sorry, you do the daily quest. This is where I'm looking for. I was getting confused. I'm an idiot. You have to do the daily quests 5 times, which is the hardest stuff. And then the other things are very easy. So you can do the weekly quest is actually a 5-day thing. So yeah, there you go. 5 daily quests for your weekly. Yeah, boom. You get 6 of those per month. Not so bad. Then Clan Boss. Clan Boss is more generous with these on lower tiers. So we're going to just go for Brutal, Nightmare, and Hard. But Brutal, going to give you about 5 per month. So it's not a ton, but it's something. Nightmare then is going to give 13. And then we go up to Ultra Nightmare. It does again jump up to 30. So there's once more a really big jump to Ultra Nightmare. Certainly we put all that together, and very clearly, as you can see here, I guess a common question for an early player might be, is it worth me? I can clear Brutal and Nightmare with my team. Is that worth doing, to clear Brutal and Nightmare? If I did Ultra Nightmare, I'd have to use like all 4 keys every day to do Ultra Nightmare. Is that worth it? And the answer very clearly is yes. Honestly, it's much better to do Ultra Nightmare, be getting these extra shards, improve your teams, pull some better champions, and then you start working down from a 4 key to a 3 key, a 2 key, eventually a 1 key, and you can start adding in these lower difficulties again then after. But really, getting to Ultra Nightmare is such a huge deal for shards. Such a huge deal. So there's a very big chunk of these from there. Bronze Tag Arena. This is something that's actually well worth doing. I would be grabbing, obviously, the fragments for a Drexstar first. Get those every single day. But this Ancient Shard resets once a week, right? And that's well worth grabbing. So that's a nice source of Ancient Shards. Another really good source of Ancient Shards is the Marketplace, right? So every month, there will be 5 ancient shards, which show up in the market for 200,000 silver each. So every time the month rolls around, it's a pretty good idea just to save up like 1,000,000 silver just to have to grab those ancient shards. If you miss it, if you don't have enough silver, it will come back during the month. They'll keep showing up until you've bought 5 in the month. Also, very nice and requires pretty much no effort. The shop, right? You get 4 ancients for free. Here we go. I've got 2 hours left on mine, so I got to come back in, well, 3 hours. Come back in 3 hours to grab that. But a free ancient every week from the shop, which is awesome. Clan versus clan does give some, but a good few less than it does the higher tier shards. So by my reckoning is that in tier 6, right, which is the most you'll get 2 from regular, almost nothing, and then you get another 2 from personal rewards. So that's really not a big deal. Ancient shards, not a big deal. For dungeons, I'm going to say per month, this is like a difficult one to estimate. I'm saying dungeons, I think it's a 1% drop chance, I think, from dungeons. So I'm saying you get about 4 per month. Let's say you do 400 dungeon runs. I'm thinking like you've got a fusion comes out once a month, and you're going in, you're doing the Fire Knight tournament, Ice Golem, Spider, Dragon. You're doing like 100 runs in each, roughly. It's usually a bit less than that to do the fusions for the tournament. So we're sort of expecting you do a few extra runs as well, just for yourself. You know, this varies a bit, but I'd say approximately 4 drops from dungeons per month. If you're farming a lot of dungeons, you might get more. If you're farming lots of Minotaur, you might get less, you know? And then there are also tournaments that sometimes give some, but I'm not going to include those. The grand total then comes to about 75 ancients per month. These are, again, I'd say much more spread out. In fact, a lot of them, the weekly quest, the market, the shop, just doing some dungeons. The dungeons, you need to be more, this is more like stage 20 levels, I think. So you need to be a little bit further on, but even Bronze Tag Arena, a lot of these are pretty accessible. You can probably be getting about half of those per month just from kind of playing the game, honestly. They're much more accessible. And then when you start getting into these higher levels of Clan Boss, that's where you start getting like the other half or so. So, yeah, kind of interesting. And Lord Janaik, he's a little bit low. He got a little unlucky on Ancients, but pretty close, right? 70 versus 75. It's pretty close. So there you go. Our example, were you right or were you wrong in terms of predictions? We actually were slightly short on the Sacreds, but really, because so much of it is just coming from drop chance and Clan Boss, you can get lucky or unlucky, basically. That's just how random stuff works in that, like the drop chance. If we take everybody on average, we take a big sample size, the average per person would come out at 8 from Ultra Nightmare. But for you personally, you can, obviously there's going to be lots of variance there. So yeah, 16 Sacreds per month, actually quite a big chunk there, by far your biggest source of legendary champions. Void Shards then are really late game focused, honestly, with Ultra Nightmare and Clan v Clan holding the bulk of them. And then for Ancients, much more broadly and evenly spread, really all the Clan Boss levels giving you a good chunk, but lots of nice, you know, freebies. Honestly, with the market, the shop, the weekly quest, you're going to get a good few Ancients. There you go. I hope it was interesting. I hope it was helpful so you can know where these shards come from, where to focus your energies, what to expect every month in terms of how many you will likely get. And you can sort of prepare and plan around that some more. There you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. I never say that enough, so we're saying it here. And I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.